Bienvenue sur le réseau NFCA MÉDIA, le sens du clic. Aujourd'hui, nous vous proposons un nouvel épisode de notre création originale The Hidden Face. Et dans ce nouvel épisode qui s'intitule
The Real West,
nous allons aborder la conquête américaine au sens large du terme. Parce que Christophe Colomb, vu de notre côté, c'est un grand explorateur, il a découvert l'Amérique. Mais les Amérindiens, est-ce qu'ils ont le même angle de vue ?
j'ai un doute.
Regardons l'épisode tout de suite.
You're a classic.
You're gonna love it.
Travel around the country in style. A real American success story.
Because country is gone sissy.
There's wackos out there.
With a gun.
It's Gun Radio Utah.
The home of gun control.
The town of Virgin, Utah has passed a law requiring all residents to own guns.
Protecting your constitutional right to bear arms. Because all America loves a cowboy.
This is the home. The home. This next sponsored classic Raging Rod Block is brought to you by...
There are certain places in the world that seem like special effects. They don't seem real.
Moving slowly through an unknown and frightening land to conquer the Old West.
The real West.
This is a land of rock and sand and cactus. Who would come here?
It is gorgeous back there.
How many other places in the world have this?
This is the American West.
The real West.
The wild, wild West. A dangerous and violent place.
Monument Valley.
92,000 acres filled with colossal sandstone formations straddling the Arizona-Utah state line.
Inside the Navajo Nation reservation. For centuries, only Native Americans occupied this remote landscape.
A few families still live here, but there's no electricity or running water, so life is hard. This will give you an idea how big the buttes are.
How did this one area become a symbol of the American West?
Right from the beginning, life was difficult and deadly. Survival skills were crucial. How to survive in the Wild West.
Robberies, stage holdups, and street fights were common.
Many gangs and civilians operated in the Wild West.
After a hard day's work in the mines, liquor flowed freely in the saloons, and things often got out of hand. Murders were almost daily events.
It was a good reason to carry a gun.
America needs a new kind of hero, the cowboy.
Just as civilization began to tame the Wild West, motion pictures arrived to turn the gunslinger into a modern legend.
When we think of Western gunfighters, we think of the classic Western gunfight.
Is of two men facing off in the street.
The problem is it simply never happened.
By the early 19th century, the U.S. was rapidly growing, both in size and power.
By 1874, railroads had brought millions of settlers to the West, changing forever the lives of those who called the West their home.
A war began against the American Indians.
It was the longest war in U.S. history.
The settlers and the Native Americans had been fighting on and off for centuries.
It is simply called the Indian War.
Native Americans and buffalo have coexisted since the last Ice Age. 30 million are killed in little over a decade. In 1889, just 85 wild buffalo exist in the whole United States.
People have occupied the Americas for perhaps as long as 40,000 years.
The Plains Indians.
They established civilization long before Europeans arrived.
Then in the historical blink of an eye, they all disappeared.
Millions of Indian people that lived before the first colonists arrived. By the end of the 19th century, only 250,000 remained.
This is a story about how America was changing.
Most of America's 300,000 tribespeople now live on government-assigned land, reservations.
This country refuses to face what happened to Indian people. A nation that does not know its history has no future.
Cette vidéo vous a plu, n'hésitez pas à liker, partager et commenter. Donnez-nous toutes vos émotions. Toutes ? Pas toutes non plus, les plus constructives on va dire. Et sinon, les encouragements à fond, on est totalement preneurs. Mais likez, partagez, commentez, et relikez, repartagez et recommentez si cette vidéo vous a plu. Sinon, vous avez peut-être loupé aussi des vidéos qui sont passées déjà, ou vous allez louper les suivantes. Donc on a une solution pour vous. Il vous suffit tout simplement de vous abonner sur nos réseaux.
Facebook, YouTube et Instagram.
Tu connais bien. Par cœur. Retrouvez-nous sur les réseaux. NFCA MÉDIA, le sens du clic. À bientôt.